What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Fleur deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck has one of the most powerful synchro monsters of all time as its boss monster, Baron de Fleur, which I actually pulled the collector's rare out of Maze of Memories, which if you guys have not checked out that opening, you definitely should. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description every single video, getting a signed card sent in the mail, and even getting to request deck profile every single month under a Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Necro Synchron. This card is an awesome card in the deck to help you go for your copy of Baron de Fleur. It has the ability this card's name becomes Fleur Synchron while this card is on the field or in the graveyard. And you can only use each of the following effects this card once per turn, that you can target one other face-up monster that you control and increase its level by 2 until the end of this turn, which is a great effect to be able to use in this deck to be able to go for level 8 synchros or even level 10 synchros like your copy of Baron de Fleur, because we have a lot of level 6s in this deck that you can actually go for level 8s or 10s with this effect. It also has the ability, if this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material for a wind monster, you can special summon out a level 1 plant monster from your deck, which is an awesome effect to be able to summon out your copy of Necro Fleur off that effect, because it's going to help you get out some other boss monsters, which is just a really awesome effect. We then play a single copy of Fleur Synchron. Fleur Synchron is just a good one-of in this deck. You only need a single copy of this card because between these cards, you have 4 tuner monsters in this deck, and we have a bunch of ways to get to these cards. But 1 copy seems to be the best in playtesting, so I went with 1. We then play 3 copies of Noble Knight's Shield Bearer. This card is a great 3 of in the deck. If this card is normal or special summon, you can banish a light monster from your graveyard to draw a card. It also has the ability to banish this card from your hand or field to be able to add a level 6 or lower wind beast monster from your deck to your hand, which is an awesome effect to be able to grab your copy of White Steed of the Floral Knights, which is the main card that you're actually searching off this card's effect. We then play 3 copies of Noble Knight's Spear Holder. Spear Holder is a really good 3 of as well in this deck, because if this card is normal or special summon, you can target a level 8 or lower monster that you control, and its name becomes Fleur Synchron, and it's treated as a tuner, which is going to help you go in for a bunch of different synchro plays, and it also helps you out because you can actually turn Centaur Mina, which can bring this card back to the field, into a Fleur Synchron to help you go in for your Chevalier or even go in for Baron de Fleur depending on what you have on the field. This card has also got another really interesting effect that you can tribute this card to be able to add an equip spell from your deck to your hand, which comes up every so often in this particular deck to be able to search out your copy of your sword, which is really good in this particular deck. We then play 3 copies of White Steed of the Floral Knights. This card is an awesome 3 of the deck, and usually what you're using to go in for a Baron de Fleur in this particular deck. If you control a level 2 or lower monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is an awesome effect to just immediately get this card on your side of the field with a copy of Necro Synchron, so you can go in for Baron de Fleur using your Necro Synchron's effect to put this card to level 8, which is just an easy thing to do in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Horse of the Floral Knights. This card is a walking polymerization and is also kind of the Stratos of the deck, because if this card is normal or special summon, you get to add a light Noble Knight monster from your deck to your hand, and also during the main phase, you can fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your deck using this card you control and other monsters from your hand or field as fusion material, which helps you go in for your copy of Centaur Mina. We then play a single copy of Necro Fleur. Necro Fleur is a good 1-of in this particular deck to help you go in for your copy of your Sorcerer de Fleur, which is a really powerful monster that you can summon in this deck, and this card is super easy to put on your side of the field with Necro Synchron. We then play a single copy of Sorcerer de Fleur. Sorcerer de Fleur is just a good boss monster to be able to make in this deck off the effect of your Necro Fleur, that when this card is normal or special summon, you can pick a monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon that monster to your side of the field, but it can't attack your opponent directly, and it's destroyed during the end phase of this turn, and the effect of this card can only be activated once per turn, which is not that big of a deal, but this card comes out at 2,900, and it's also a really powerful boss monster. We then play 2 copies of Sage de Fleur. Sage de Fleur is basically the upgraded version of Sorcerer de Fleur, and is a really easy way to pop your copy of Necro Fleur to be able to summon out your copy of Sorcerer de Fleur and Sage de Fleur at the same time. Because this card has the ability to target one monster that you control and one card on the field, and special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, destroy them on your side of the field, which usually you're targeting your copy of Necro Fleur to be able to summon out this card, which is a great effect. And if this card is sent from the field to the grave, you can target one other monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, then add one level 1 plant monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand, which can be your copy of your Necro Fleur. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is just really good in this particular deck to stop your opponent from touching the deck, and it's a great hand trap this format. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is a really good one-of in this particular deck to bring back your monsters to your side of the field to extend your plays and go for more synchro plays. We then play a single copy of Rhoda. Rhoda is really good in this particular deck to be able to grab the exact warrior that you need between your Noble Knight monsters to go in for the exact play that you want. We then play a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is great at stopping your opponent's hand traps. We then play a single copy of Instant Fusion and then 2 copies of Ready Fusion. These are really good in the deck, and you honestly want to see Ready Fusion more than Instant Fusion in this deck because you have cards in the extra deck like Aqua Dragon that you want to bring out with your copy of Ready Fusion to be able to synchro summon using that card. And the cards like Dragite, which is really cool because when you have your copy of Aqua Dragon in the graveyard, your copy of Dragite turns into a spell trap negate, which is really good for this deck. We then play 3 copies of Tuning. Tuning's really good in this particular deck as a 3-up, because it lets you add a Synchron Tuner monster from your deck to your hand and then send the top card of your deck to the graveyard, which is a great effect to be able to use in this particular deck to be able to send or to be able to add your copy of your Necro Synchron or Fleur Synchron from your deck to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Heritage of the Chalice. Heritage of the Chalice is a definite 3-up deck that lets you add a Noble Knight monster from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to be able to use in this particular deck. We then play 3 copies of Fleurette de Fleur. Fleurette de Fleur is a really good 3 in this particular deck. It's almost like a living fossil-like card that has the ability to activate this card by targeting one level 2 or lower monster in your graveyard and special summon it. But its effects are negated. And it also has the ability that also you equip it with this card. And when this card equipped by this effect leaves the field, it destroy that monster. And the equipped monster gains 700 attack points. And if this card is sent from the Spell and Trap Guard zone to the graveyard, you can equip this card to one synchro monster that you control, and you can only use the effect of this card once per turn, which is a really awesome effect to be able to basically synchro summon using the monster you bring back off this card's effect, and then equip it to the synchro monster that you summon to your side of the field, which is going to give them an additional 700 attack points, which is really good, boosting cards like Baron de Fleur all the way up to 3,700, which is pretty big. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing 3 traps, and that's going to be 3 copies of Impermanence. Impermanence is a definite 3 on this deck to be able to just stop your opponent's monster effects and lock down entire columns for spells and traps, which is just really good in this particular build. This card is a definite 3 of in this particular deck. You can change it out for cards like Nibiru, but I'm really liking Impermanence in this particular build. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Baron de Fleur. This card is absolutely insane and looks amazing as a collector's rare. I love this card. It looks absolutely stunning. It's just an amazing collector's rare for anybody who wants a Baron de Fleur. But this card is really good because it's a walking negate, and during every single one of your turns, you get to pop a card on the field, which is an absolutely crazy effect. But it's only negate once while it's on the field, which is totally balanced about this card, and it just helps you out in this deck to summon this card as quickly as possible. possible. We then play 2 copies of Chevalier de Fleur. This card during your turn, which I think this card should have been during either player's turn, but during each of your turns, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card, you can negate the activation if you destroy that card. I really feel like this card should have been more like Xian to be able to negate during either player's turn, but it's still really a good effect to be able to block spells and traps during your turn only. We then play a single copy of Dragite. Dragite's really good, but it's only good if you have a water monster in the graveyard, like your copy of Aqua Dragon that we play in the extract to be able to synchro summon into this card, which is really good because then it becomes a spell trap negate. We then play a single copy of Cyber / Harpy Lady. This card is great in this particular deck and super easy to summon this particular build because if this card is synchro summoned on your side of the field and a spell or trap card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can target one monster opponent controls and bounce it back to the hand, which is a great effect. We then play a single copy of Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. This is an easy way to make your copy of Baron de Fleur in this deck, and a really crazy monster is if this card is synchro summoned, you can special summon one level 2 or lower tuner monster from your graveyard, which is an awesome effect. And then you can also tag this card out for a copy of Stardust Dragon, and then immediately after this effect resolves, you must synchro summon, which is a pretty good effect. You play the single copy of Stardust Dragon in this particular deck to combo with your copy of your Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon for this build. Plus, they're both wind, so it's very easy to pull off a lot of effects in this deck with these 2 cards. We then play a single copy of Coral Dragon. Coral Dragon's just in case you need to go for a level 6, and it is a tuner monster to help you go in for Baron de Fleur. We then play a single copy of Stardust Charge Warrior. Charge Warrior is great because when it's synchro summoned, you get to draw a card. We then play 2 copies of Centaur Mina. Centaur Mina is great in this particular deck as well because you make this with Horse of the Floral Knights because it's a walking polymerization. And once per turn, during your turn, when your opponent activates a trap card, quick effect, you can negate the activation. If you do, set that card. And it also has the ability during your main phase, you can special summon one level 2 or lower monster from your hand or grave. And if this card is sent to the graveyard as a synchro material for a Wind Warrior monster, you can store one face-up monster on the field, which your copy of Baron de Fleur is a Wind Warrior monster, or even Chevalier. We then play a single copy of Aqua Dragon. Aqua Dragon is the main card we're going to summon off our copy of our Ready Fusion. You can't summon it off of Instant Fusion because it's a level 6, but you can summon it off of Ready Fusion, which is the main card that we want to summon it off of, so it works together with these 2 cards. We then play a single copy of Sea Monster. Sea Monster is really good in this particular deck because it is a tuner level 5 to help you go in for some synchro plays. We then play a single copy of Alvain. Alvain does come up every so often in this deck to help you with a level 2 monster that is a tuner to help you go in for some synchro plays. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have not played a Fleur deck before, you definitely should give the deck a try, especially with Baron de Fleur being like the main boss monster of the deck. It's just too cool and just awesome to be able to make all the really cool synchro monsters that you can make with this deck. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell near so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.